Do you really care about being moral? Chances are that in the mirror view of your self-righteous preconceptions, you probably look at yourself as a good person. You care about acting justly, sticking to high moral principles like honesty, honor, altruism, and the list goes on. The problem with this picture of the world is, well, that it is entirely false, and I'll aim to show you why with a mythic story and some science. So to begin with a story, let's go back to ancient Lydia, where a shepherd by the name of Gyges was casually going about with his work when all of a sudden, a huge opening abruptly cracked the earth on which he stood. He later descended into the opening to find a large, brazen horse with doors in it. He opened the doors and found the body of a dead person with a ring on it. In both awe and confusion, he grabbed the ring and took it with him. Lo and behold, the ring enabled him to become invisible at a mere twisting of the collet. He was now able to hear what others spoke of him in his absence, to unnoticeably steal fruits in the markets without getting caught, and commit any immoral act his whim suggested to him. So here's a question. What would you do if you were Gyges? The story of Gyges was actually brought up by Glaucon, Plato's brother in the Republic, in the context of trying to define what motivated people to act justly. Glaucon was trying to suggest that the only reason why people really are just is because they fear what others will do to them if they get caught. Were you to be like Gyges, absent all possibilities of social retribution, in a cloak of invisibility, would you still act morally? I'll let you answer that. The intuition that we are all moral hypocrites who only care about seeming righteous as opposed to actually being it is corroborated by psychological experiments. Daniel Batson at the University of Kansas paired his participants in an experiment he carried out in groups of 2. He then had each one of them privately assign a pair of tasks, one positive and one negative, to their partner and themselves. The subjects were allowed to assign the task directly at their will or carry out a coin flip in the spirit of fairness, which, by the way, they could always ignore if they wanted. He then had them rate their decision of assigning the tasks in terms of how ethical they considered it to have been from 1 to 9, 1 being completely immoral and 9 being completely moral. It turns out that not only did most participants assign themselves the positive tasks, but their self-ratings were higher when the coin was flipped and they ignored the results and assigned themselves whatever they wanted anyway. In other words, the more present the apparent display of fairness, in this case the coin flip, the more righteous their self-estimation was. The results suggest that Glaucon might have actually been onto something when he mentioned that our concern is primarily with seeming moral rather than being so.